Hey YouTube, it's Robert back with another video for you, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about tile, but more specifically the difference between ceramic and porcelain. This is one of those areas that people come into our store confused all the time about what the differences between porcelain and ceramic are and which they need. And I find people have a lot of misinformation and they're under the wrong impressions regarding what these products actually are. So in today's video, I'm really going to try and help cut through the chase, keep it somewhat simple for you guys without going into too much technical detail, and really help you hopefully gain a little bit of a peace of mind when you go out and you look for tile floors. Because tile is one of the staple products for the flooring in your home, and the floors in your house is generally one of the largest expenses that you have in a remodel. So it's worth knowing what you really need, not sacrificing, not compromising on what you want just because you're under the impression that you have to have a particular type of product. And that goes with every product category, but today we're going to focus on tile. And before we jump into the video, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that like button so that YouTube knows you enjoyed it and they spread it to help other people as well. If at the end of the video you have any questions, hit those down in the comments for me below. Okay, so in my thumbnail I was holding these two tiles up right here. I want you to go ahead and take a second. Tell me which one's the porcelain, which one's the ceramic. Alright, this one's the porcelain, this one's the ceramic. Comment down below if you guessed it right. So you can comment down below if you did get that right, but the point I was trying to make is that it's getting harder and harder to tell just by looking at the surface on these products if you're looking at a ceramic or if you're looking at a porcelain, because the technologies on both are improving so rapidly. The ability for the manufacturers to print the images on, create textures, use actual digital printing that gives a tremendous amount of depth to the products. Both are improving really well. So in terms of looking at the surface, we can find great options in both products. What is a ceramic and what is a porcelain? Well, both products are fired clays. So the way that we actually measure it in terms of certifying a tile as a US certified porcelain tile is based off of how much moisture it absorbs, how dense the final product is. So we start with clay in both instances. We're firing them in a kiln to bake them in both instances, but how finely the clay is ground and how high the temperatures and consistent the temperatures are in the baking process is what ends up giving us the density required for a tile to be certified by US standards as a porcelain. And that's where we want to be really careful when we're looking at products that are being marketed as a porcelain but don't have that US certification that they are truly a porcelain tile by our standards, not by the place that was making it, because they can call it whatever they want, but it doesn't mean that it actually meets our criteria for what is a porcelain tile. Now traditionally we've had some kind of basic ways that we could look and see the difference between ceramic and porcelain by looking at the back of the tile, because most of the time our ceramics were kind of this red or brown backed body of the tile, and then it's got the actual glaze on the surface. Porcelain tiles typically would have a white or a gray back of the tile, but they're still glazed. So this is one of the areas that people have a misconception about. I get people that come in constantly that say, I need a porcelain because I want to make sure that if I chip it, the color's still in the body of the tile. That is not the case with porcelain. Porcelain is still a glazed product unless it specifically says that it is a through body or a color body tile. As you can see, the back of this product is not the same as the front. And if you chip it, you are not going to see the color on the top going through this product. Now, even with our color body porcelains, if it has a lot of variation or design on the top of the tile, the overall predominant color may be baked through there, but it doesn't mean that the design is literally going all the way through the body of the tile. What it does mean is you have a very dense product, so it's going to be hard to chip it, but there is not a product out there that isn't capable of chipping under just the right set of circumstances. However, most of these products installed properly, it's harder to chip them than you think. You're oftentimes more likely to break what you dropped than you are to chip the tile. So like I said, the biggest difference between the ceramics and the porcelains is the level of density that is attained in the finished product. And one of the ways that you can actually test this on your own in person is if you grab two tiles that are the same size, same dimensions, like the two that I just showed you, where we have a 12-inch by a 24-inch. I'm dealing with two products that are the same dimensions, they're the same thickness, but one is actually heavier than the other. And the reason for that is it's a denser product. There's more clay baked into that same space. So even though they're the same size, one ends up as a heavier product. That's kind of how you can actually feel that density in person. But which product is better? Well, objectively, if we're talking about a certified porcelain that actually meets the requirements to be classified as such in terms of that level of density and its moisture absorption, then porcelain is the stronger product. But again, that's assuming that we're talking about a product that is certified porcelain and not just a product that's being called a porcelain but doesn't actually meet those requirements. So, do you need a porcelain tile for your home? No, generally not. If you find a ceramic that you absolutely love, there's no reason for you to rule it out strictly because it's a ceramic, because a lot of the ceramic products are so much better than what they were 20 years ago. And if you go into a store and you're looking at these racks where you have all the cards that you can flip through, they'll tell you right on there if they're approved for flooring or if they're approved only for walls. And as long as it's showing that it's approved for residential floors, you can have complete confidence that installed correctly, that's going to do what you need it to do. So if you fall in love with the ceramic, go for it. Don't be afraid that you are going to have more issues with it, because realistically in today's products, you're not likely to see the real strong benefits of the porcelain over the ceramic until you start putting them in specific environments. Maybe that's high-level commercial traffic environments, or maybe it's a situation where you wanted to put it outside, and that moisture absorption can help protect that product from ever cracking if there was to be freezing temperatures with a lot of moisture in the air. That is something that can theoretically happen, but those are kind of off the wall circumstances. So as long as we're talking about putting it in your house, find something that you like, make sure it's approved for the area that you want to put it on, and then go for it. And like I said, most of that information is going to be provided to you right on the displays. So let's take a look at some of that. All right, so here we have a product from Dal Tile, and like always, I'm not being paid by Dal Tile. I have no partnerships with them, no benefits of any kind. I'm just using this as an example for you guys because it does meet the specifications of what we were talking about with a porcelain tile. But this product here is called Trellis Oak, and I actually have this product in my own home in a bathroom. You can see it installed if you want to go check out one of my other videos that I did where I share my small bathroom remodel. I actually have this lattice mosaic in a shower floor with the larger wood planks in the main part of the bathroom floor, and the color that I used was actually amber. I love this product, but if we look right here, we actually will see the symbol that we want, and it's going to be the word certified porcelain. The porcelain, the O will be shaped like a tile laid on a diagonal, and then right underneath it, it's going to say 0.5% or less water absorption. So that's the little symbol here that we are looking for a certified porcelain. And if it's really important to you that you know for sure that's what you're getting, then look to see this, because just because somebody's telling you that a tile is a porcelain doesn't mean that it meets this standard for them to be able to actually put that on here. And then if we look at these boards, generally they're going to have all the other information that we need. They're going to tell us right on here what's the applications that these are supposed to be used for. So it'll tell us if it's designed to be put on a floor or if it's a tile that's only designed to be put on a wall, because it just doesn't have the strength to be a walked on product. And you know, there are some that are designed as just strictly wall tiles. You will find most products that are strictly a wall tile will be a ceramic. Even if they have a coordinating floor tile that's a porcelain, they'll make the wall tile sometimes in different shapes, and that same product, same color, same style, will be offered as a wall tile in a ceramic when the floor was a porcelain. And in addition to that, you're gonna have some other characteristics of the product that talk about scratch resistance, hardness, slip resistance, a lot of things that are measured in technical terms where you're not gonna really know what they mean, nor should you need to. I would say probably the one that's the most common might be the slip resistance if you're putting it in a wet area. But just know, even products with a lot of texture, when they get wet, you can easily still hydroplane on them. So if that's a concern to you, make sure you've got your bath mats and things like that in those wet areas so that you don't risk yourself slipping, because even the products that feel rough to the touch can be slick when wet. So as I mentioned before, the technology in both the porcelains and the ceramics has dramatically improved over the years. And in many cases, we now have ceramics that not only are much better than the ceramics of 10 years ago, but a lot of these ceramics are actually leagues beyond what porcelains were 10 to 15 years ago when we start talking at least the kind of entry-level porcelains of that time. So here we have an example from Inner Ceramic Tile, which is a company out of Mexico, and they make all ceramic products, but they have a technology now that they're referring to as Durabody ceramic, and it allows for them to get a much denser ceramic tile. Still isn't a porcelain, but it's a very strong ceramic product. And they couple that with now digital printing technologies on their surface, so the ceramics have a much better look, and they have a lot of improved texture. The amount of variation from product to product is improved dramatically. So I would have no reservations for my own home about picking a product out of this line, even if it's a ceramic that I otherwise liked, because I've seen these down and they look phenomenal. Another area that I find there's a lot of confusion surrounds rectified porcelains. And generally when somebody comes in and they tell me they're looking for a rectified porcelain, it's a term that they've heard without it truly being explained to them. But most of the time they're simply looking for a square-edged tile because they're trying to achieve smaller grout joints. That's generally the reason that somebody asks me or is insistent that they have that. It's because they think that's how they're gonna achieve the tightest grout joints. When we're talking about square-edged tiles, the whole edge from top to bottom goes completely up and down. It doesn't pitch out, which a lot of tiles do. They have a slight draft. So the bottom of the tile, if you're scooting the two pieces together, the bottom hits before the top does. And that prohibits us from getting those really tight grout joints. Where the square edges, we can bring them a little bit closer together. That, however, does not mean that that tile should be installed with the grout joint that you may want. So each product, each manufacturer has recommended grout joint thicknesses for their tiles that you really should follow, because a lot of the products, if you get them too close together, it's going to create issues with the crowning where some of the tiles are not perfectly flat. Your subfloor is never perfect. So the closer and closer you get those tiles together will actually make potential for lippage and those little high spots more problematic. It's going to increase the likelihood that you see a little bit more of those inconsistencies. So the grout does serve a purpose. My recommendation is stick to the thickness of the grout joint that the manufacturer recommends for that specific tile, and also consult that with your installer in terms of what they think they can achieve with confidence for you on that grout joint. All right, so to recap, both ceramic and porcelain, man-made baked clay, glazed surfaces, so they do not have that same image and color all the way through the body of the tile. Like I kind of broke down the color body and the through body porcelains, that's kind of its own category, but generally you're going to be looking at glazed products. And both products, once you've installed them correctly, should be very easy for you to live on. Not a lot to really worry about. They should perform really well for you in your residential environment. The one thing that you have that has any level of porosity to it that you need to kind of protect is your grout. And even with the grouts now, there's a lot of improved technology where you have a built-in sealer in these grouts. You don't have to worry about sealing it a couple weeks later after the grout's completely cured. So there's some great products there too. And I'll link a couple of those down below for you guys. But ceramic, porcelain, don't get too bogged down in the details. Find something that you like and go with it. If you found this video helpful, please let me know down in the comments below, and let me know by hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more. My name's Robert. I'm here to help with all of your remodeling needs. So until next time, happy remodeling and have a great day.